Yeah.
As a child, my grandmother would feed my father a diet very high in fat and other things that weren't healthy. During this time, my father was very active in sports, which kept his weight down. My father continued this pattern well into his adulthood until he got married to my mother. However, his activity in sports dwindled the older he got. Um, at the young age of 45, my father, who was 5'8" and 240 pounds, was sitting finishing up his lunch at a friend's house when his left side and his mouth began to freeze up. After about a half hour, he was able to get my mother's attention, and my mother took him to the doctor and to the hospital, and they diagnosed him with type 2 diabetes. This was caused by years of poor dietary habits and lack of physical activity, which made him obese. Since being diagnosed, he has had several mild strokes, mild heart attacks, along with nearly going blind due to his diabetes. He also frequently experiences excessive back and leg pain, along with muscle pain, and takes many medications to deal with his health problems. I told you this story because the odds are that each one of us knows someone that's experienced these health conditions. How many people know someone with diabetes, health problems, heart disease, asthma, things like that? Okay, and how many feel that obesity has directly affected their lives? What I hope to convince you of today is that obesity is a serious health condition that causes major medical problems but can be prevented in many different ways. Now, the seriousness of obesity, according to the National Conference of State Legislators, Kentucky spends annually $1,163,000,000 a year just on obesity-related medical conditions alone. Kentucky, according to the same people, is the fourth fattest state in the Union. The Principles of Foundation and Health Promotion and Education book says obesity leads to 4 of the top 10 deaths in the United States. The Killer at Large DVD says that as a country we are 5 billion pounds overweight. The Kentucky Institute of Medicine says that the lack of physical exercise, poor dietary choices, and obesity are linked to several preventable causes of death in medical conditions. In Round County alone in 2007, cancer, which is caused by diabetes, accounted for 20.4% of the deaths in the county. The heart disease accounted for 40.7% of the deaths. Strokes accounted for 8% in 2007, and Kentucky ranks 12th in deaths from strokes. Kentucky ranks 5th in the nation from deaths from heart disease. In 2007, 8% of the population of Brown County had been diagnosed with diabetes. Other conditions affiliated with obesity include hypertension, osteoarthritis, gallbladder disease, infertility, and physical disabilities. Now that we know the serious problem obesity is, let's look at its causes. One major cause is poor diet. People choose fast food for its convenience, low prices, and speed of service, which tends to be poor in nutrition value and processed considerably. Lower income families buy cheaper food, which is higher in nutrition because that's normally what they can afford, because less nutritional food is less expensive. If you eat sugar, sugar affects the same system in the brain that addictive drugs do. According to the movie Fat, What No One Else Is Telling You, humans make 119 food choices daily. Another reason that we're obese is because we don't get enough exercise. Dr. Joyce Fetro's book, Step by Step to Health Promoting School Program Planning Guide, says in a national sample of 15,240 high school students, only 33.4% have participated in active, vigorous activity in the last week. Of the same people, only 38.2 of them had watched 3 hours or more of TV a day. The major barriers most people think of when they are trying to get physical activity are lack of time, convenient facilities, and safe environments in which to be able to do their activities. Mental health, stress, and depression are also preventative causes of diseases. The Killer at Large DVD says cortisol is released by the brain during stress, which causes you to eat more. More work equates to more stress, and in our fast-paced lifestyle, then that's one reason why we're so much more obese than we used to be. The Healthy People 2010 study says that more than 19 million adults in the U.S. suffer from depression. What no one else is telling you DVD says genetics is the only factor that is not preventable. There's 20 to 30,000 genes in the human genome, and 400 are involved with energy and weight loss. Other reasons to give for obesity include lack of sleep, government policies on certain things like sugar, environment, and lack of access to adequate health care facilities. Now let's discuss methods to combat the causes of obesity. Several of the causes of obesity can be addressed by making small behavior changes. Dietary changes can be made in various ways. You can cook meals at home that follow the mypyramid.gov web outline. You can turn off the TV and eat meals around the table. We could replace buying unhealthy foods by buying healthier ones. You can take your own lunch instead of eating fast food, and you can decrease your plate size. Physical activity does not have to consume a great amount of our time. You can park farther away from the entrance so you can walk further to get into Walmart. You can take your children to the park to play with them instead of going to the movies. And you can take the stairs instead of the elevator. Dealing with stress and depression can be overcome too. You can avoid people and situations that stress you or stress you out. You can focus on the positive and reward yourself for doing good behaviors. And you can set aside just some relaxation time. Once you've decided to change your behaviors, now there are advantages to making this decision. They include your bodily functions will improve, which will protect you from illnesses and diseases. You'll have more energy, you'll be able to sleep better, you'll have a longer lifespan, and you'll have reduced pain in muscles, bones, and joints. Other advantages, you would have an enhanced work, academic, and sports performance. You would have reduced depression, stress, and anxiety. You'd have better self-esteem and a better relationship with other people. I've shown you that obesity is a fat problem. I've also explained that the causes of obesity and behavior changes that can help prevent obesity. Finally, I've explained the benefits to living a healthier lifestyle. I began this speech by telling you my father, who at the age of 45 suffered from health conditions associated with obesity. Had he, along with my grandmother, taken the initiative to live a healthier life, I believe he could have avoided the health problems that he has now. I'd like to end by encouraging you to think about the choices you make that affect your own health and the health of our country as a whole.